Joining us, I'm Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Laga. The suspect was taken into custody in Gila Bend. According to police, the area is now clear. We have Tina Giuliano live on scene right now. Been following the story since it first broke. Tina, can you give us an update on what exactly you know?
Yeah, that's right, Pat and Heidi. This area behind me now, it's near the Harshbarger Building, is all clear. And the police say a person in the building saw the suspect come in and they knew something wasn't right. So they immediately called 911. Now, campus police told me earlier that one person was shot and taken to Banner Health. And the students in the classroom were told to shelter in place. Now, the students that were in the classroom, we spoke to one of them who was there when the shots first started.
You feel helpless, you feel powerless, like unsafe in a way, but at the same time just like numb to it all, like when is this gonna stop?
Campus police just had their press conference and they encourage students and staff to reach out to counseling services if they need someone to talk to. Live at the University of Arizona, Tina Giuliano, KGUN 9 on your side.
Much more on this coming up. Now to our Operation Safe Roads initiative. Tucson City Council members are looking for help keeping transit fares free.
Craig Smith has been following this story. He joins us now with more. Craig.
You know, it costs about $100 million roughly to keep the streetcars and buses running. About $50 million of that comes from federal grants, another $45 million from the city budget. But the city had been using pandemic relief grants to cover about another $9 million. Early in the pandemic, Tucson decided to let people ride Suntran buses and the streetcar for free. It was seen as a COVID relief measure. Federal funds helped cover the cost. Tucson's not alone in the move. Even before COVID, some cities concluded free fares make sense to help low-income people and to help the economy by making it easier for people to get to businesses, to work, and to buy things. Judy Kamen says she's appreciated a free ride to where she needs to go.
Because most of the people that take the bus are not even middle class and they don't have as much money. So I think they should tax the rich.
U of A students have also been lobbying to keep the fares free. They say free fares reduce the strain on tight student budgets, including the $2 an hour they'd have to pay to park on campus.
I actually get to save my money and spend it on other things like groceries or books. I know $2 a day or $2 an hour might not be like a big deal, but once you do that every day, it does add up. So that's an expense I'm able to cut down on and use it for other things that I need for school.
The city says more than 80% of the people who answered a poll on free fares say they'd like them to continue, but only 17% of bus drivers wanted free fares to continue. Drivers have complained about security issues, saying since fares became free, more people just stay on the bus and cause problems for drivers and passengers. Now, council members were told some of the other cities that went fare-free got financial help from local universities, so Tucson may ask U of A to kick in to help cover some of those fares. City staff says, for instance, 60% of the people who ride on the streetcar of U of A are U of A students, and for buses, it's 20% U of A students. Reporting live, Craig Smith, KGUN 9 on your side.
All right, Craig, thank you. Those who live on one Florida island now being allowed to return to their homes today.
Yeah, Sanibel was hit hard by the storm. About 7,000 people live there, but more than 35,000 stay there during the holidays. City manager of Sanibel says the damage could really hurt the tourism money that makes up so much of its economy. Also today, some commercial flights took off out of the airport in Fort Myers, the first since that storm hit. Meanwhile, about 400,000 people are still without power in the state of Florida. In Charlotte County, South Carolina, about half the population doesn't have power. They've closed schools for now until the lights are back on. Volunteers from the Southern Arizona chapter of the Red Cross helping in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, the volunteers traveling from Tucson to Florida over the last few days and are now serving those whose lives were turned upside down. The photos you see here on your screen are from one of the Red Cross shelters in Fort Myers, housing thousands of people who lost their lives. KGUN 9 caught up with Vanessa Perry, who has been volunteering at the shelter since it opened.
some of the people here are absolutely devastated. They've lost everything. I've heard from people some very graphic stories of the floodwaters coming and being rescued or being injured or loss of life. It's been very stressful for them, as you can imagine. So it's been an honor to be able just to sit there and hold space with them for a little bit.
Perry is a certified counselor and is providing mental health services to the people of Fort Myers. She will continue helping in Florida for the next week.
A Tucson man has been missing for nearly a week after taking off for a camping trip near Prescott. Jeffrey Stambaugh was last seen at the Yavapai campground within the Granite Basin recreation area. He gave his phone to the camp host to charge and then never came back to get it. He was also supposed to be meeting a friend on that trip, which never happened. That friend then reported him missing Saturday. Rescue crews have found his car and searched the trails nearby. So far, there have been no sign of him. Well, our parent company, EW Scripps, is helping out with relief efforts for Hurricane Ian. If you'd like to donate, you can do so on our website, kgun9.com, or text the word STORM to 50155. We've got all the details.
All right. Let's bring it back here.
Yes.
Nothing like a hurricane. Don't even want to compare it. But boy, it's raining very hard here on the east side, Kyler.
Yeah, we got some stormy weather across southeastern Arizona this afternoon and this evening. There you go. From Tumamoc Hill, there's the scattered showers and thunderstorms right around the metro area. And as we go to the radar, we are seeing some isolated thunderstorms that are producing some brief heavy rain as they rotate around the backside of a low pressure system that's centered over New Mexico this afternoon. Let's zoom in on the Tucson metro area, where right now we are seeing some very heavy rain. Just moved south of Speedway here in the last few minutes, and these are going to continue to move south. And then as we move to the northwest a little bit, we're seeing some heavier rain moving into Oro Valley, and then also a cluster of pretty strong thunderstorms just to the northwest and west of Wilcox. Again, these are all moving to the south, and there's the lightning associated with them. We will see these decrease in the next few hours. More rain in the forecast.
All right, Kyler, thank you. Well, the Pima County Sheriff's Department is looking for a woman who went missing from Picture Rocks. Lizette Martinez is 29 years old. She's 4'8", weighs around 130 pounds. Officials say Martinez is vulnerable in some way. She was last seen yesterday afternoon in a neighborhood near Orange Grove and Sandario. Law enforcement doesn't know what she was wearing, but they say Martinez is probably wearing oversized black Nike men's shoes. Well, coming up, there's a local nonprofit with a worldwide reach.
Yeah, we'll introduce you to Beads of Courage, and we'll tell you how the organization is impacting kids with serious illness and how you can support their mission. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
We tell your stories because you matter to us. You're watching Pat Paris and Heidi Alaga, KGUN 9 on your side.
We have more from the University of Arizona campus, where a professor has died after a former student came to campus and shot him. 9 on your side's Ryan Fish has been following the story for us all day and has the latest from the U of A police. Ryan.
Hey, Pat and Heidi. Yeah, just to get through some of those details, U of A police just concluded a press conference here at their headquarters, taking you through what happened. As you mentioned, this involved a former U of A student and a professor in the hydrology department who unfortunately was taken to the emergency room and died from his wounds there. A timeline that we learned from the press conference: the shooter, this former student, entered the building just before 2 p.m. That's when a call came in to University police from a staff member saying they recognized this former student and they wanted this person to be escorted away from the building. As police were en route, that's when they got a second report of that person then shooting the professor in an office, and then shortly after arriving on scene, there were reports sent to police that this suspect had fled away from the area. In that time, there were alerts sent out to students and staff. Classes were canceled, and people were told to stay away from the area. Police said that they realized, given the information they had, without going into too much detail, that this suspect was not in the area that the suspect had fled, and that's why they didn't offer any sort of wider lockdown, but they did ask people to leave the scene so they could investigate as best they could. Now, this suspect ended up being taken into custody just after 5 o'clock today after a traffic stop by Arizona Department of Public Safety just outside of Gila Bend, so quite away from here off of I-10. So this suspect was seemingly fleeing the scene quite a bit before they were apprehended, again, just after 5 p.m. today. So far, that is what we know from this press conference, other than several agencies were involved, partnership agencies were involved in responding to this incident, and we'll have more updates through the night and into the end of the week here. As far as we know, classes and activities canceled for the rest of the day, but they are tentatively on for tomorrow, but with some confusion around the building itself. We have some sound for you to listen to now.
We were very confident that the suspect was not in the area, which is why campus was closed for the evening. Basically, all classes for the evening were canceled, and we just wanted people to leave campus. We had a lot of people that were around the scene that wanted to see what they could see, and it was just easier for us to be able to ask everyone to leave. And again, to my point earlier, suspect was taken into custody at Gila Bend, so that person was clearly not on campus.
And Pat and Heidi, that's the latest update we have here. We'll continue to update you as we learn more. Live at the University of Arizona, Ryan Fish, KGUN 9 on your side.